part of speech evaluation and a formal debating. He milestone of his journey in this field was winning the DTAC 2012 title for speech evaluation category. His experience from this evaluation journey helped him to coach many aspiring speakers to compete and win district level titles in various speech contests and category. Mentor Roles and Responsibilities, DTM Ahmed Shukri. Ahmed Shukri, Roles and Responsibilities.
Thank you very much indeed, Master of Ceremonies, fellow Toastmasters, and all new Toastmasters this morning. Good morning and welcome to this session. And let me jump ahead and go straight into the very rich and dense topic of mentorship and why mentorship matters. And I would like to thank the district team for giving me one of my passions in this long journey of Toastmasters, apart from speech evaluation and debating skills. Mentorship is also one of the aspects I always like to talk about and include in all of my education program and my journey overall. Look at this picture in front of you and tell me, do you know who's the person pointing to the sky? You can use the chat and use your trivia information to tell me who is the person pointing to the sky. But that person pointing to the sky is very foundational to what we do these days, with democracy, speech writing, and everything we do in our modern life. This person pointing to the sky is foundational to what we do today. It goes way back before AD and in old ancient Athens. This person was pointing to the sky in his last lesson to humanity. And this painting was created by a very famous French artist called 𝗚𝗏, and it describes the death of Socrates. And the last lesson given by Socrates to the world was that I won't die in vain. Socrates was given a penalty to die because he was spreading strange ideas. So he said, my last lesson in life is to die by suicide. I will take my own life to teach humanity one last lesson. So my point here is not about Socrates, it's about another person in the same frame, in the same painting, looking away from his master. That person feeling so sad with his head leaning down is Plato, the mentee of Socrates. This incident made a profound impact on Plato. And with this beautiful mentor-mentee relationship, Plato gave us beautiful productions of utopia, democracy, the republic. All of these long-lasting, time-defying manuscripts and publications were because of this unique mentor-mentee relationship between Socrates and Plato, and then passed on to Aristotle. So we always go back to these great figures of history to build upon the shoulders of giants. This was also my inspiration of this presentation and my journey in Toastmasters. So let me take you again back in history and show you this very ancient dust-filled photo from 2004. You can see in this photo so many people you wouldn't even know, but perhaps two people you will see here. It's myself wearing purple here, trying to sell the idea of Toastmasters to my previous CEO at Alba. And maybe you might find a familiar face here in the face of ASDTM Muhammad Ali Shukri. This is the humble beginning of Muhammad Shukri with us in the first ever Toastmasters clubs in Alba. Even him, by the way, he didn't know about this photo. So if you want to share it with him, you'll be surprised. I'm sharing this photo to tell you that how long and how progressive the process of mentorship begins over the year. And it took us 20 years to just build in small steps the process of aspiration and inspiration to become good and strong mentors. Even you can see in our first agendas here, they're so naive and so primitive and so like noob style of presentations, but slowly and surely all of us grew out of this and became even more powerful speakers, presenters, and even champion speakers. So the real question here, to be honest, is how do I distinguish between mentorship and coaching? What do I call a coach and what do I call a mentor? And to really help you define and distinguish these two important terms in the journey of Toastmasters is a single word. You can have a look at the actual bullet points of coaching versus mentoring, but in comparison of both lists, you will see a very important word. That word is put versus pull. Any typical coach would try to pull the talent, pull the self-awareness, pull the skill out of the person being coached. That's why coaches are very popular in sporting events like football, basketball, and any skill-based operation. And they're usually non-directive and very short in duration, versus a mentor who puts in effort, puts in information, puts in recommendation and guidelines. It's a lifelong process. And to become successful in Toastmasters journey, finding the right person who can help you put in more information, put in more words of advice and wisdom. This is very foundational in your journey. That's why when you become a member of Toastmasters, the first rite of passage is to assign a mentor that will guide and help you in your journey of Toastmasters. And trust me, there's no way to become successful in this journey without having acquired a dedicated, distinguished, and unique mentor that can help you throughout this long journey of inspiration and aspiration. Having said so, let me share with you the 4 stages where mentorship matters. And these 4 stages are your journey of maturity in your Toastmasters journey. All of us, we start as guests, we join clubs as guests, we feel nervous, we want to talk about ourselves, we want to introduce ourselves so nervously, we want to run away from the door or from the Zoom room because we are so embarrassed and so lacking confidence in this collection of people who are talking so freely and full of confidence. And after 3 times, we are offered membership and we start our first meeting with the same equal level of nervousness to present our icebreaker. Soon after that, we start to join more meetings, and eventually we close our eyes and we open them to see that you have spent X number of years in Toastmasters. And there's a very nice saying that said, once you're in Toastmasters, you will never get out of Toastmasters. It will be part of your DNA and part of your psyche and personality. So let me take you through these 4 stages and how your mentor can help you navigate through these 4 stages and become a more effective and powerful speaker. Mind you, there's a word of caution here, and this is a model developed by Douglas Atkin. In any walk of life, in any commitment of life, there is a stage where we either become powerful members of an organization, active, powerful member of an organization, or slump down to become inactive and eventually leave that organization. And that's the intersection between commitment and time. This is where mentorship plays the biggest role. Because as you see through the 4 points in this curve, initiation is being offered membership. So between membership to become a member of Toastmasters Club, you're still passive, you're still reactive to the surrounding environment. This is when you engage with more roles, with your mentor, with your other members of the club, that you move from becoming active into a powerful leader. It's the same time period where you can shift from becoming active to inactive. That's why you have to be aware of this commitment curve and the exact critical time moving from becoming active and powerful to becoming passive, inactive, and eventually losing interest in Toastmasters. And for that, we need to use the advice of best-selling author, Dr. Stephen Covey, who talks about the emotional bank account. Just like the bank account, the financial one, there's an emotional bank account. I can depend on DTM Muna, for example, or DTM Kajitan, or anyone in the room, only if I have enough deposit in that emotional bank account. And as mentor and mentee, we need to establish this emotional bank account between us and the person we are choosing to become our mentor. There's no way I can ask someone else who's a total stranger to do me a life-changing advice or service without me putting some emotional bank account balance in this relationship. I'm sure you've been through this situation many times before, when all out of the blue, you get a phone call from someone who never stayed in touch for many years asking for a favor. You know that this bank account is empty. There's no money, there's no emotion to be taken out of this account. That's the same thing with mentor-mentee relation. Because self-mastery and self-discipline in this relationship between mentor and mentee is always the foundation of a good relationship, as Dr. Covey puts it out. So your first task of the day with your chosen mentor is to start building an emotional bank account with that person, or receive enough trust, enough feedback, enough royalty with that person without any grudges or unkindness or disrespect to build this emotional account. That's why at your first meeting between you and your chosen mentor, I always put this acronym START, S-T-A-R-T, as your guiding principle in your first and second meeting of your Toastmaster journey. S and START refers to sitting down. If we go back to full physical meetings, I remember my days of sitting down with mentees, having a casual talk, asking about their day, looking into their concerns and fears, having a real chat with a friend. Now, I know it's a bit difficult to do it virtually or in a hybrid format, but there are always creative ways to sit down with the mentee and mentor and go through the concerns and fears we might have, even at the start of the first meeting or around the start of the journey in Toastmasters. We also need to make sure that our mentees, if they are fresh and new, they know the club rules, how they dress, what's the dress code, what are the unwritten rules, who's the most senior member of the club, who can have certain insider information on the spirit of this club, what makes this club ticks, what are the do and don'ts in the club. So you see, this is where your mentor puts in information and advice to you to become a stronger mentee and a stronger member of Toastmasters. Also, the mentor has to help the VP education and the VP membership affirm access to the tool that DTM Kajitan talked about on Toastmaster website. Because without this access to the tool, we will be lost in translation. That's why it's very crucial and important that all new members, apart from the actual Toastmasters experience, they know and they confirm having access to the tool and having access to the first pathway. Because the first pathway is given to you as part of your membership. The second pathway will cost you $20, but the first one comes to you as part of your membership of the club. Your mentor and VP education must make sure that you have access to that pathway and you know how to navigate your first pathway on the website. But your prime goal, your prime and most important goal in this first stage of a relationship is booking the icebreaker. The sooner you book the icebreaker, the sooner your journey begins. I know that an icebreaker can be a difficult experience. And so many people try to put it off and delay it for as long as possible. But you need to really make a point, put your legs down and decide that this is the day I'll start my ice-breaking speech. Fellow Toastmaster, this is where the actual mentor-mentee relationship starts. And this is where you tag along with your mentor with the first ice-breaking speech, reviewing text, going through techniques, going back and forth to establish this emotional bank account with your mentor. Once you start, you decide on the ice-breaking speech, this is where you tag along with your mentor. And soon after, your journey becomes more progressive and you start to uncover many new beautiful aspects of the Toastmaster journey in the following meetings. That's why the start process, START, should continue in the following meetings. You remember when I told you to sit down with your mentor at the start of the meeting? I need you to double down on sitting down with your mentor in the next meetings. The more you establish this emotional bank account with the mentor, the more you have chances to sit down, have a casual talk, and try to take as many information as possible from your mentor, because he's there or she's there to put that information, that advice, that help to you. You'll be like a vessel, like a container that takes all of this information, guidelines, and tools. This is where strong emotional bank accounts are established with your mentors. And by that time, you'll be receiving your feedback on your ice-breaking speech. Now in Toastmasters, we're very kind to the icebreakers. We don't give them harsh evaluations, but you have to make sure to take elaborate notes on your icebreaker, not from your evaluator in the meeting, but from your mentor, because the mentor will have this extra eyes and ears to give you elaborate points of advice on how to become a better speaker in the next upcoming speeches. Again, I'm putting A for affirming access to pathway. Pathway, your selected pathway, if it's not taken at that early stage, trust me, it'll be delayed and there'll be a disconnect between your membership and your progress in the pathway that you've chosen. So I know even myself in 2017, I had problem in acquiring and adapting to pathways. I had to use my mentor who took me just like the 𝗵𝗂𝒐𝒏𝒈 did here. He took me through the steps on how to really access pathway and really continue the journey in my Toastmasters experience. After that, after finishing the icebreaker, another important step with the help of your mentor, booking other roles. The more you are engaged in the meeting, the more you are active in the commitment curve. So other roles apart from evaluation, because evaluation will require some more experience in your journey. With the help of your mentor, let's select any other roles, even if they are smaller roles, like timer, ad counter, grammarian. These are small bricks that will help in building your building of trust and emotional bank account. Then in this stage of your journey, you need to translate your concerns into goals. So a lot of us in Toastmasters, when we become members, when we become first members, we are so enthusiastic to become part of this organization. But in the first 6 months, we might have some concern, like I'm not engaging with this club. The virtual background, the virtual Zoom platform is not very engaging. If we don't share these concerns with our mentor, we will slowly become inactive in the curve of commitment. So this is the stage where you need to share your concerns with your mentor, even a group of mentors if you want. So many of us, they have formal mentors and informal mentors. These concerns can turn into goals and challenges. It can be happening in this critical part of your mentorship journey. Eventually, you will realize that there are some qualities and responsibilities for you as mentee. One of them, and more important one of them, is attending meetings. If we don't show up, if we don't show our commitment, even if it was a virtual meeting, there's no chance I can get more information and more knowledge. Remember, this is the relationship where you are the vessel, that you are as a container that takes all the information and advice. Attending meetings regularly is the first step towards it. And so many clubs here in the world, they're still meeting in a virtual or hybrid format. It's so easy for you to join a club meeting from anywhere in the world, but attending is a crucial step. So within that 8 weeks, within that 6 months, like I said, take up roles. And here the Toastmasters guidelines gives an exception of TMOD and GE because these roles are multi-level roles. But if you have that enthusiasm with your mentor, you can even take a TMOD and GE. Challenge yourself. Turn the concern into an objective and take it up. If you have a good mentor, trust me, you can take up that challenge and even ace it and become successful in it. Within that golden period of 6 months, you will start to explore more hidden surprises in Toastmasters. You can attend events outside your club family and discover the beauty of contests in other clubs, trainings and workshops like this one. The NMOP is one of many other modules that are offered by District 20. Make it in that first crucial 6 months, because this is the golden period of your journey in Toastmasters. Always be in touch with your mentor. As I said, remember, build the emotional bank account and sit down with your mentor on a regular basis, because he will be the source for your information and your recommendation in your journey of Toastmasters. Remember, our goal in the end, as Dr. 𝗂𝗶𝗃 says, we want to move from becoming dependent on someone to become independent on our own, then collaborate with our fellow Toastmaster family in District 20 to become interdependent. This is an example, this NMOP is an example of an interdependent relationship between us, the PQD, the organizing committee, and all the wonderful Toastmasters, where as people, we are independent, but working together, we become interdependent on each other. This is the goal that you have to aim at on the long run. And trust me, after 20 years of Toastmasters, this is the goal I'm aspiring to. Each year and each month, I feel more passionate about becoming interdependent in my Toastmasters journey. And remember, sometimes we go into the stages of forming, storming, norming, and performing. This is the curve of team build-up. And this model is suggested by Mr. Tuckman. Sometimes the choice of mentor may not be suitable. So we'll start from forming a relationship, then fighting with the mentor, storming with the mentor, then somehow finding a way to norm the relationship before becoming performance. And DTM Muna is smiling. I think she went through this curve more than once in her journey of Toastmasters, but this is normal. We are here to learn from each other and become better people because of it. So remember this curve of forming, storming, norming, and performing, but never adjourning, because Toastmasters is a lifelong experience for all of us. So let's cross out adjourning from this curve and stick with performing. I'll end up my very brief session on mentorship with a habit I have, an interest I have, is in fine art and fine painting. Those who like impressionist painting and classical painting might have known the style in this picture. And the style here is a very well-known, famous painter, Dutch painter, Vincent van Gogh or Van Gogh. And Van Gogh is well known for his strokes of beautiful swirls in paint. If I told you that these two paintings are from the same person, you'll tell me there's no way. The painting on the right is very dark. There's no colors in it. They're very gloomy in nature, whereas the painting on the left-hand side is more colorful, more hopeful. Both of them are from the same painter. The first one, the Potato Eaters, is when Van Gogh was a very struggling artist, poor struggling artist. And the other one is when he joined a collection of his mentor and artist in France in what is known to be the avant-garde period of his life. The difference between these two paintings is one man. This man is Paul Gauguin, a very famous French painter. And in this yellow house that they shared in the south of France, Paul Gauguin imposed his colorful, full of life approach on Van Gogh and made him change his own style from the gloomy, dark paintings of his days as a poor, struggling painter into an elaborate, full of power, full of emotions painter that we know and love today. This is what mentorship can do to you. It can unravel your abilities. It can make you a powerful speaker. It can make you realize the true calling you have in Toastmasters. Through Toastmasters, we are never realizing interdependence in Toastmasters if we stick to our own independent world of giving speeches, of giving small evaluations. No, we become true, mature speakers in the biggest room in the world. The world is our oyster. Your voice is to be given to the world. And sometimes you can change the life of a person. Thank you very much. Back to you, Masters of Ceremony.
Thank you very much, DTM Ahmed Shukri. Thank you for presenting your workshop today. Now we have reached the end of our journey and the workshops for today. Thanks a lot, our presenters,